Let's talk about relationships. They're not easy, you know? They're really not. It's easy to look at someone else's and recognize the downflaws or the downfalls and the flaws in other people's relationships. It's easy to be the outsider looking in and to see, well, that's not going to work. Or these two people are completely opposite. But when you're in it, you know, not much really matters. You see this in movies a lot, and honestly, some of them nail it. And I mean, there's how many movies about love? One of them has to, right? But you know, when you're actually in the moment, it can be impossible for you to see because you're not looking at the flaws of the other person, or you're not looking at how you two don't mesh, but you're looking at the thing that's holding you guys together, and hopefully it's love. You know? Hopefully it's love. And I don't mean like just sex. I'm not talking about lust. I'm talking about actual love. Where you're not just using each other, either emotionally or physically, but you're actually genuinely giving yourself to the other person because you care about this other person. You actually care about this other person. A love like that is, honestly, it's rare. And once you find one like that, you gotta hold on to that, you know? Love isn't this 50-50 concept where you're both giving half and that equals 100%, you know. It's both of you giving 100%. And if you're not, what are you doing? You're just wasting each other's time. It's hard to be the one giving 110%. It feels like you're just giving it your all and you're trying your hardest, but the other one's not really into it. And if you have ever been in one of those, and I'm willing to bet you have, you know you're trying to give all of this to this relationship. And this isn't even, I'm not even just talking about, you know, like a dating relationship. I'm talking about friendship or any other kind of relationship that you might have. You know, just being acquaintances or coworkers or, you know, friends, or in a dating relationship, or even your spouse. You are giving everything to this person, and it seems like they're not giving you the light of day. It's easier with coworkers because then you're just like, all right, well, I'm just not gonna talk to them outside of work. You can do that. You can get away with that. You know, friends, this one's a little bit harder because they're your friends, right? You want them to care for you, and you care for them. You love them, but sometimes you gotta just cut them loose. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with stepping away from somebody that's holding you back, or is just taking away all of your energy and all of your emotions, and they're just draining you of joy. There's nothing wrong with leaving a relationship like that. That is actually a healthy thing to do that, because if somebody's just taking and taking and taking, eventually you're not going to have much more to give, and you need to step back for your own sake. I'm not saying that this should like be downtrodden or whatever, You have to care about yourself. You have to take care of yourself. And if you're constantly giving, then you have to quit at some point for your own sanity. Okay, and that's hard with friends because, sometimes it's high school friends or somebody you grew up with. And maybe it's not necessarily that you're giving everything and they're not taking, but sometimes you guys just stop meshing. And that's okay. People drift apart. I'm not friends with all of my friends that I've had even 5 years ago. Do I appreciate the time that I had to spend with those people? Absolutely. Do I remember every moment of it? No. Is it healthy for me to think back on those times time to time? Absolutely. We are given our memory as a gift. That's a good thing. And for the people who are losing their memories, I feel for them. But being able to think back on those relationships, on those friendships, on those friends that you've had, that is such a gift. And then there's the dating relationship. Like I said, sometimes you just don't mesh, and people on the outside can see that, and they can warn you, but how often do we listen to the people who we know really care about us? Especially when it's something that we think we know better. They're noticing all these signs. You're changing. You're different. You're not the same person when you're with your significant other. And sometimes, as their friend, you don't want to tell them because you think that's going to hurt your relationship with them. And I understand. It's scary. You don't want to lose your friend. It's hard to look at your friend dead in the eye and say, I don't like it when you're with your significant other, when you're with your boyfriend or girlfriend, because you act like a different person. I don't know you when you are with your significant other. And I don't understand why you are changing for this person in the way that you are, because it's not a good change. And as the friend, you can say that to them. You should be able to say that to them and not worry that they're just going to ditch you. But so often today do we see that happening, where one friend will genuinely care about the other one, and they'll tell their friend the news of, like, I don't think you should be with this person. And sometimes that's family as well. Family can be telling you this person is not good for you, and they are not being healthy for you. They're not bringing you to a better place. But what do? They just say, oh, I disagree. And then they just move on. And you are coming at them from a genuine place of love. And that is a scary thing for you. Especially if you're not a family member where you won't already have that permanent place in that person's life. If you're a friend who disagrees, maybe you don't have to be my friend anymore. Can't really do that with family, can you? How difficult can it be for us as friends who genuinely love each other, who genuinely love our friends enough to not be afraid of that happening? To be able to look our best friends in the eyes and tell them, I don't like who you are when you're with this other person. And just trusting them that they will make the right decision, or that they'll realize that in themselves and they'll make a change in their own lives. It's it's important that we tell people that we love them, and we tell them that we love them often. Because without letting them know, why would they listen to us ever? If they don't know, and you're not backing it up with anything, if you're just saying, oh, I love you, but then you're just doing whatever the heck you want, you're never giving them the time of day, then it's, why would I listen to you? You don't get married and say that you love your spouse on the altar and then don't say it again for another 20 years, and you don't show them in any way for the next 20 years, and just expect one day down the line to have a good marriage. No, but it's every single day of just giving yourself freely, not only to your spouse but to your friends, and just letting them know that you are there for them and you care for them and you want the best for them. I've never been married, so I'm not really the one to speak on it. So I don't know if I will. Just know that once you get married, it's not all going to be perfect. There's no switch that flips. If something annoys you about your fiance, that thing's still going to annoy you with your husband or wife. Getting married doesn't just fix everything. If you ask any couple, it's really nice, and then it's really hard. And some parents fall out of love when they get married, or some people fall out of love when they get married. That's why rushing into marriage is so dangerous, because, like it or not, you're kind of stuck with that person. I know today's day and age, just get a divorce, but do you ever really? In your heart, are you really gone from that other person? If you've spent years together, that just doesn't just go away overnight just because you got a divorce. That's changed who you are as a person. Some people get married and they have kids right away, and I love them. I love them, I love them, I love them. But it's dangerous, because even though you have a kid, you're still married. You cannot just give all of your time to the child. I know that's wild thinking, but you need to spend time with your spouse. That's why date nights are so important. Go get a babysitter. Go out on a date night. Do the things that you used to do when you were dating. You should be dating your spouse. Go on date nights with your husband or wife. Don't just wake up one day and all of your kids are moved out of the house, and finally you realize you don't have a purpose anymore, because your whole purpose as parents, as a married couple, was just to raise your kids. I've heard of multiple people, and this breaks my heart, that they were married, they had kids, it was great. The parents knew how to raise their kids and everything. And then once the kids got out of the house, like I said, They realized, wait, I don't know who you are. I don't know who I'm married to. Because their identity was a parent. It wasn't a spouse. It was just a parent. If there was a hierarchy of needs, it's going to be God, yourself, your spouse, your children, and then work. Because think about it this way, the world flips it on its head. It says work is the most important thing. And then if you're doing pretty good, then you can have some kids. And maybe you can get married too, because you already have a kid, right? But you gotta make sure you're taking care of your job, and you gotta make sure you're taking care of your kid. And then maybe, just get married. Oh, and now you have a little bit of spare time, don't you? Somehow, I don't know where you manage that, but yeah, I guess you can take care of yourself too. But make sure that you have your job in order. Make sure you have a good job. Make sure the kids are fine. Oh, make sure that your spouse is happy before you. Oh, and then you got to take care of yourself. Oh, and I suppose you can have a religion. You can go to church. That's what the world is telling us all the time, but we need to flip that on its head. God needs to be the first thing in your life. And then yourself. You need to take care of yourself, because you cannot take care of others if you're not taking care of yourself. If I'm not being fed, I can't feed others. And I'm not just saying that in like a food sense, but in a spiritual sense. If I am not putting good, healthy things into my life, how am I going to show healthy things to others? And then eventually you're going to realize, oh man, I'm ready to be married. I'm not perfect myself, and I will never be perfect on this earth. But I want somebody to help me. And some people don't get married, and that's fine. They've just skipped 2 steps. But even if you don't get married, even if it's not a spouse, then the other relationships in your lives, your friends, your family. But if you do get married and have that spouse, they're the third most important thing. There is a couple that had a kid, and the kid was playing ball, and the kid threw a football in the mom's rose garden. And everyone knows, don't go in mama's rose garden. So the kid goes over in the rose garden. He starts picking through everything and trying to find his ball. And the dad walks out and says, "Hey, what are you doing in my wife's rose garden?" And he's talking to his son. And he's not saying that because he's trying to belittle the kid or anything. But no, that is his wife's rose garden. She took care of that. That is his mother's rose garden. And then you got to take care of the kids, though. Once your spouse is happy, then take care of your kids. And yes, that's going to be different for younger families, but you need to make sure you're still spending time with your spouse once you have kids. Children are a gift. What was it in Genesis, I think? In between Genesis and Exodus, God blessed the people of Israel. And what did he bless them with? It said that they were fruitful and multiplied. They had kids up the wazoo. That was the gift. The gift was the children. For 400 years, they were blessed. They were also put into slavery, but they were blessed. And what were they blessed with? They were blessed with children. Take care of those children. Don't neglect your kids. It's hard to see a broken home. It's hard to see broken families and to see what impact that has on kids. And then finally, after you're taking care of all of those other things, you're putting your relationship with God first, you're taking care of yourself, you love your spouse, and you're giving everything to your spouse, and then you're giving everything else to your kids. Finally, we're focused on work. Work is not the most important thing, brothers and sisters. You can find other jobs. You can do something else with your life. But what you do with your family is important. What you spend your time and your focus on is important. If you're just trying to get money, then what are you doing? You're just working a job that maybe you're miserable with, trying to get money so you can, move on to another job to make more money, but you're still miserable? You're just searching for money at this point. And then what? Don't focus on a job. Don't focus on your work. That's not the most important thing in the world. Unlike some people who are going to tell you that. High school kids, they get asked all the time, oh, what do you want to do when you grow up? It's okay not to know that answer. I'm 26 and I still question what I'm doing. There are 50-year-olds who still don't know what they really want to do. And that's okay. That is okay. There is nothing wrong with not knowing what you want to do and just going back and forth between different things. But do not make that your life's focus. Otherwise, you are wasting your life. I don't care what you're doing. If that's what your main focus is your job, you are wasting your life. Take a look at your life today and ask yourself earnestly and honestly, what are you doing with your life? Are you focusing it just to make money? Just to stay alive, just to keep working in a job, just to keep making more money, to keep staying alive, to keep doing the same thing? It is better if you die young doing what you love than to live long doing stuff that you hate. A short life is better than a long one if it is spent doing the right things and with the right people and with the right mindset. Because you have to realize you're doing what you're supposed to. You're being a human being. You are not a machine who just goes to work every day. My brothers and sisters, do not fall under that assumption that you are just a machine who goes to work every day and pushes buttons and makes stuff happen. Because that is not you. You are made for a relationship. You are made for a relationship with one another. You are not just an employee somewhere. You are not a burden. If you've ever been called a burden by anybody in any of your relationships before, I am sorry. You do not deserve that. Because you are not a burden. And if you have not been told today that you are loved, I am sorry, but you are loved. You might not be loved by the same people every single day in every single way. You might not be shown that love in the way that you are expecting, but you are loved. Think about the people who grew up with you, who took care of you when you were a child. Those people love you. And I get it, some of you were in broken families, and I am sorry. Some of you were in very bad situations, and for that, I am truly sorry. That is awful, and that shouldn't happen, but it does. We forget how much our actions affect others. We forget how much our kids look up to us. That's why when I'm at school, I try my best to be a good father figure, because some of the kids have never had that. They've never had a good father figure. And no, that's not going to be fine for everyone. I know that. Some kids don't need it. And thanks be to God that they don't need that. But you are looked up to more than you know and more than you realize. And you need to realize that little kids are looking up to you and your peers are looking up to you. They see what you're doing. Love them. And show them what a good person acts like. We are called to love everyone. But we're not called to be in a relationship with everyone. That is an important thing. That's the last thing I'll mention. Is that we are called to love everyone, but not necessarily to be in a relationship with everyone, because I can't spend that much time with every single person. There are people that I will never meet, and I'm okay with that. There are great people that I will never have a relationship with, and that's fine. There are people that you will never meet, and that is fine. You don't have to go out and try to save every single person in the world. That is not what you are supposed to be doing. Somebody's already done that for us. We just need to love the people around us the way that He did. The way that Christ did. That's going to look different for everyone. I can't tell you how you're supposed to be in a relationship, and I can't tell you what the things that you need to do for your relationships will be. Only you know that, and only God knows that. That's something that you two have to figure out. But just know that you're not alone. I love you all.